I was just in a place where I knew I didn't want to like tell her one thing, and like, you know, I felt like she respected me at the time.
Constantly changing, and I don't know, I think that's what I want.
People in the press and on social feed timelines love a picture that tells a story. Over the last few years, images of Selena Gomez and Drew Taggart doing public activities, from casual bowling nights to low-key outings, reignited chatter about whether Selena is moving into a new chapter. Those outings weren't hidden. They were visible moments that invited interpretation, shared smiles, relaxed vibes, and conversation that suggested two people enjoying one another's company. At the same time, Justin and Hailey remain a consistent public pair, sometimes arm-in-arm and affectionate, sometimes simply two people handling the glare of cameras and a newborn's first year. There's a rhythm here that the press eats up. Whenever one side looks serene, the other side's quiet glance becomes front-page fodder. It's worth noting how outlets describe these scenes. What's framed as a date in one headline can be friends hanging out in another. That ambiguity is the core of modern celebrity coverage. Most public outings tell only part of a story. Why does a single photo matter so much? Because pictures are shorthand. They compress complex emotional states into a frame the public can react to in seconds. Fans and tabloids will fill the gaps, telling a full story from half a moment. But careful readers know to treat images as prompts, not verdicts. A photo of two people having fun doesn't prove deep change, and a picture of a couple not touching doesn't prove the relationship is broken. We'll keep those caveats in mind as we follow the thread. People in the press and on social feed timelines love a picture that tells a story.
So I just
over the last few years,
let her do her
images of
thing,
Selena
and if she
Gomez
ever
and
needs me,
Drew
I'm gonna be
Taggart
here
doing
for her,
public
but
activities, from casual bowling nights to low-key outings, reignited chatter about whether Selena is moving into a new chapter. Those outings weren't hidden. They were visible moments that invited interpretation, shared smiles, relaxed vibes, and conversation that suggested two people enjoying one another's company. At the same time, Justin and Hailey remain a consistent public pair, sometimes arm-in-arm and affectionate, sometimes simply two people handling the glare of cameras and a newborn's first year. There's a rhythm here that the press eats up. Whenever one side looks serene, the other side's quiet glance becomes front-page fodder. It's worth noting how outlets describe these scenes. What's framed as a date in one headline can be friends hanging out in another. That ambiguity is the core of modern celebrity coverage. Most public outings tell only part of a story. Why does a single photo matter so much? Because pictures are shorthand. They compress complex emotional states into a frame the public can react to in seconds. Fans and tabloids will fill the gaps, telling a full story from half a moment. But careful readers know to treat images as prompts, not verdicts. A photo of two people having fun doesn't prove deep change, and a picture of a couple not touching doesn't prove the relationship is broken. We'll keep those caveats in mind as we follow the thread. Music is a language of feeling, and celebrities who are also songwriters give the public an intimate script to examine. Selena's song, Lose You to Love Me, became a cultural touchstone. Fans heard it as a reclamation track, one that marks an emotional exit from a painful chapter and the start of self-focus. The song's blunt introspection and cinematic chorus created a narrative line fans and journalists tied back to her high-profile relationship history. When a song lands like that, it does more than top the charts. It offers a popular map for reading subsequent behavior. People will listen to new outings or new dates with the echo of the chorus in their ears and try to see whether the lyrics were the last word or the first step to something new. That's how a track can stay alive in the cultural imagination long after it's released. But songs never speak alone. They sit beside interviews, social posts, and stage moments, and the public stitches them together. If Selena writes about healing, fans will look for evidence of that healing in new friendships or in the way she smiles at a concert. If Justin writes lines that sound like declarations, listeners will try to match them to how he shows up in life. It's crucial, as we interpret, to remember context. Songs are art and may mix truth with dramatic compression. Still, These songs matter because they shape how millions understand emotional arcs. We're not claiming any single chorus explains everything. We're asking how music and life reflect one another, and whether the music tells us more than tabloid photos ever. There's an entire industry built on reading moments, whether a crossed arm, a lack of PDA, or a phone-first walking posture. These snapshots generate narrative. For example, when a couple who normally shows affection runs a public errand with few touches, observers interpret the scene as a sign of distance. Conversely, a rare public kiss becomes a corrective, proof that the relationship is intact. We should treat body language readings as clues, not conclusive evidence. The truth is often messier. People react differently under stress, after long days, or in front of cameras. Meanwhile, Justin's occasional confrontations with paparazzi and public expressions of frustration are now part of his public arc. The footage and posts make for viral moments that fans and commentators analyze for hidden meaning. Those moments prompt two contrasting narratives. One sympathetic, a person under pressure with family and creative demands, and one skeptical, a celebrity whose behavior fuels relationship rumors. Both narratives thrive because the camera gives the public raw footage and nothing resembling full context. So what should the viewer do? Read body language for texture, not for final judgment. It's useful to track patterns across many outings rather than build a case from a single image. In the case of Justin and Hailey, we've seen both closeness and distance in public snapshots, and that variability is normal for couples under intense scrutiny. The healthier approach is to acknowledge the public drama, but to be careful about converting it into. If we step into Selena's shoes, or at least try to imagine her perspective, several themes recur: autonomy, self-protection, and the slow rebuilding of trust. Public interviews and posts have at times signaled that she values her privacy and that she's cautious about entering the public romance cycle for spectacle's sake. When she's seen with someone new, casual outings, creative collaborations, or music world hangouts, the picture on the surface is of someone who's exploring compatibility while keeping control of the narrative. The fact that she once posted a "I like being alone" line after a public photo set tells us that she knows how to set boundaries in the face of speculation. For many fans, Selena's path is less about a binary moved on / not moved on and more about a person slowly deciding what a healthy connection looks like now. That approach reframes every public outing. Instead of a headline that reads "new couple," we can imagine two people seeing whether they fit. That subtle linguistic shift matters. It resists the drama that tabloids prefer and recognizes that most adult relationships begin with cautious, low-key steps. Selena's songs, interviews, and selective public moments together sketch the arc of someone testing new waters with care, rather than jumping headfirst into a new public story. Whether that becomes a long-term romance or a creative friendship remains to be seen, and that's a perfectly reasonable place for someone to be. The final scene is about perspective. For Justin and Hailey, ownership of their narrative is the real prize. They've demonstrated, through public affection, through music, and through silent boundaries, that a relationship in the spotlight can be both a private project and a public performance. When fans parse every image and lyric, the couple has two choices: correct the story publicly, or keep the protective wall up and let private work happen out of the frame. When a star puts out new music that touches on love and sacrifice, the public will inevitably stitch songlines into real-life reportage. That's not always fair, but it's the modern dynamic. Ultimately, relationships change over time. People who love one another can go through phases of closeness, stress, growth, and recalibration while still being committed. The healthiest takeaway for fans? Give adult relationships the room to evolve without collapsing them into simple narratives. If you're making content about these moments, do so thoughtfully. The story is compelling, but respect nuance. Don't reduce emotions to clickbait. Use empathy, and if you're narrating for viewers, invite them to reflect on how we treat public heartbreak, public healing, and the lingering power of songs that help people make sense of both. After all, celebrity stories echo our own small dramas with louder microphones. People.com. +1.